مرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني مشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. يا حبابتي يا سيدي يا فاطمة يا بنت رسول الله صلاة الله وسلامه أتم أكرم على أبيك أمك وعليك وعلى زوجك أمك ومن والكم لله. يا حبابتي يا سيدي يا فاطمة يا بنت رسول الله صلاة الله وسلامه أتم أكرم على أبيك أمك وعليك وعلى زوجك أمك ومن والكم لله. يا حبابتي يا سيدي يا فاطمة يا بنت رسول الله صلاة الله وسلامه أتم أكرم على أبيك أمك وعليك وعلى زوجك وعلى ابنك ومن والكم لله في كل لحظة أبدا عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومدد كلماته. We're still continuing on the khasa'is, on what is special Sayyidah Fatimah Zahra. Then I'll go into the durus, right? Because the last part of on chapter 13, right, will be durus. Right? Durus basically lessons, right, taken from Sayyidah Fatimah Zahra. And the Shaykh, he identifies three specific lessons, right? To women all around, right, and then to mothers especially, right, and general lessons, right, for all around. Then inshallah the 14th chapter is actually dua and tawassul, right? So that one we leave it to Zainab, right, to do it, right? So she can I told her it's up to her. She wants to speak about something else, she wants to do a sharah on the chapter, it's up to her. Right, so I leave it up to Zainab. What she wants to do, she can do. Right, so inshallah she said she will be able to come, right, on Friday Asr time. So the last lesson we were at min khasa'isiha, about Sayyidina Ali, and min khasa'isiha bima we were at the ayat innama yuridullahu liyuzhiba ankum rijsa ahlal bayti wa yutahhirakum tatheera, right? That for surely. So about the purity of the Ahlul Bayt of Sayyidah Fatimah Az-Zahra. Then we went into the next khasa'is meaning the distinguishments, right? What makes her distinguished over other people, right? Is that her lineage will not be cut off on the day of judgment, and those who are connected to her lineage, they are not cut off. Right? So if you want to have shafa'ah, if you want to have intercession on the day of judgment, if you want for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to save you on the day of judgment, you must be connected to the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? And Sayyidina Abu Bakr, he said, he said, irkabu Muhammada fi ahli baytihi. It's a hadith that you will learn in, I think, Nurul Iman or in Mukhtar al-Hadith, one of the hadith books in Dar Zahra. Irkabu Muhammada fi ahli baytihi, which means that connect yourself to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hold on to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam through the Ahlul Bayt. Right? So we are in the zaman, right, of the Ahlul Bayt. We are in the town of the Ahlul Bayt, and it's said that in the entire world there is not a single town that has a higher concentration of the Ahlul Bayt than Tarim. We are right there. We are right in the heart of it. Right, so the whole world, the entire world, you will not find any town that has as high a concentration of the Ahlul Bayt than Hadramaut and Tarim specifically, than Hadramaut at large. Right, so, and mashallah, when you go around, you will find almost every person you meet is Ahlul Bayt. Almost every person is Ahlul Bayt. And when you go back to your countries, you'll find one here, one there, random people here and there who are the Ahlul Bayt, and usually they are connected back to Hadramaut. Right, so it is really that in this place where the offspring of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam spread far and wide, mashallah. Right, so if you want to be connected to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is no other way except through Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right, so here the hadith goes, kullu sababin wa nasabin munqati'un yawm al-qiyamati illa sababi wa nasabi. This is the hadith that is connected to a longer hadith whereby Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Fatimah bid'atun minni yaqbiduni ma yaqbiduha wa yubsituni ma yubsituha fa innal ansaba la munqati'un يوم القيامة إلا نسبي وسببي وسهري. That is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, it's connected to the hadith whereby Fatima is a part of me. It upsets me what upsets her, and it pleases me what pleases her. And every connection is cut off on the day of judgment except for those who are sababi wa nasabi wa sababi wa sihri, except for my lineage, and sabab will be those who love me and my family, and was sihri will be my in-laws, right? So this is how we connect to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Sahaba themselves, they understood this because Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, right, after the death of Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra, and the growing up of the daughters of Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra, he sought to marry one of the daughters of Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra, right, to increase his connection to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he already has his daughter Sayyidah Hafsa, right, being the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Sayyidina Umar is the father-in-law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidina Abu Bakr, father-in-law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Ali are both son-in-laws of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's how they make sure they are all interconnected, intermarried, all together. So Sayyidah Kulthum, who is the daughter of Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra, she married Sayyidina Umar. Right? It's a fine age, very fine age, because daughter of Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra married Sayyidina Umar radhiyallahu anhu. But then also Sayyidina Umar wanted to increase in his connection to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? But there was no progeny from there. From that marriage, mashallah. Right, so ومن خصائصها أن الله حرم ذريتها على النار. Right, and from also her khasa'is, right, what is special about her is that Allah has made her dhurriya, right, her descendants, haram for them for the fire of hell to touch. Right, and here it speaks about her dhurriya or her descendants that are on iman. Right, because unfortunately, and it should grieve us as well. Right, that there are of the Ahlul Bayt of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that leave Islam. Right, so as how it would grieve us if our own descendants left Islam. As if our own house be like our own descendants left Islam, you will feel so grieved about it. Right, you feel so upset. So we should even be more upset when we hear about Ahlul Bayt that leave Islam. It should be really in our du'as that they come back, in our du'as that whatever of the Ahlul Bayt in this world that has left Islam. In Singapore, there are cases, of the Ahlul Bayt having left Islam, and in fact, very well-known cases, because these people used to be in the forefront of da'wah, they used to be, of the asatiza and so on, and then they left Islam. Right, so it should grieve us so deeply. Right, when this ever happens to the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because no one wants it for their own families. You don't want your own descendants that down the road someone leaves Islam. Right, so you want it, inshallah, till the end of time, till the day of judgment, all the descendants, they hold on to Islam. They don't dare let go, of this religion. So you can only imagine how grievous it is to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, to see his own progeny, right, leaving Islam, right, how it must be hurting him in his grave, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right. And so the worst that we could do is to condemn them. Right, there are the Muslims out there who condemn the Ahlul Bayt. Right, so you can imagine how this would grieve Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right, so we see of the Ahlul Bayt who are not holding on to the religion. Maybe they're still Muslims, but they are, they're not really practicing, or they've been influenced by the time, by the zaman and so on. And they are Ahlul Bayt. They are Ahlul Bayt. Right, we should have a hum. Right, we should have like a concern. Right, and a concern for them, a sincere concern, as how you would for your own children. As how you would. Right? So like for any person, if a person's child were to go astray off the path, right, would you condemn your own children? That you won't, right? Right? You would, you'd be so worried about them, but you won't condemn them. Right. So on that note, so how can we condemn the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam who have gone off the path? We don't. Right. But we make dua, we try and reach out to them, try and call them, to Islam, or to come back into practicing the religion. As how we would love it that if we pass away, and our children get lost in this world, and our children are tried, right, by all the glamour of this world, and they're going into all this evil influences, right? How you love that someone comes in their way, and someone advises them. Someone pulls them, someone calls them. After our death, right? For example, if you're dead, and you can see and it is in the hadith, you can see your progeny. After you pass in your grave, that your ancestors can see what you're doing. So how many of us that would be so happy that someone said something to them, or someone came in their path, someone interceded, someone came in and tried to influence them, and we will love it. You will say, Alhamdulillah, that person said something to my child. Alhamdulillah, you'll be so happy. So all the more on us and how we are with the Ahlul Bayt of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not to look at them with the eye of condemnation, or the eye of you said, to look down on, in ihtiqar, in Arab ihtiqar. I mean, to have the eye of disdainment against the family. Of course not, because there are people who do that. Right, they'll say, from the Ahlul Bayt, look at their character, look at their, they're not even covering up, their prayers, they're not even praying 5 times a day, right? I mean, saying all these things will just bring more and more hate to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? So saying all these things, be of assistance, right? Be of help, be an influence, and make dua for them, right? As how you would love for people to do for your own children. Right, so all the more we have it for the children of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is a very important point. Mashallah, I know amongst the Ahlul Bayt themselves, like, they are very critical of each other. And they are the Ahlul Bayt. It's like, within the family. Right? So within the family, you can be critical of each other, right? So about your brother, your sister, your nephew, your nieces, right? Okay, if you're the auntie, you're the uncle, you can be critical all you want, because it's your nephew, it's your niece, right? Right? So within the family, it's normal to be critical. So we do find that the Ahlul Bayt, they are like that. Right? When they speak with the Ahlul Bayt will be like, when I spoke to one of the Ahlul Bayt recently, she was like, and I said that, from those who are not Ahlul Bayt, we respect, we revere, and we honor the Ahlul Bayt. Even if they are sinful, even if they are, not practicing their religion. Then she was like, this Ahlul Bayt, they call disgracement on their own selves. Like how an auntie would say it, right? Like, she did it herself, and she is disgraced, her own self. So the Ahlul Bayt, they're very critical of themselves. They're very critical of themselves, of each other. Mashallah. But those who are non-Ahlul Bayt, right, we see only with the eye of exaltation. And the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no matter what they are. So that is from this part whereby the Zuriyah of Sayyidah Fatimah Zahra, the Zuriyah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they carry the blood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So no matter what, we don't speak down on them, right? As far as we can. I mean, in fact, wajib, it's wajib. We can't. We just cannot say anything about the Ahlul Bayt of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ومن خصائصها التي لا مرية فيها, there is no argument about it, أنها أشبه الناس بأبيها سمتا وهديا وكلاما ومشيا. So she is, so of her khasa'is, right, of what is distinguishing about her, right, is that she is the most alike to her father. And when someone is alike, right, to someone else, that has an indication of them taking from the character of that person. And it's something that is very true. If you look at children, right, when they are more alike with one parent, they take not as the looks but the character also. Character also, that will come into them. So you look at, like Aisha, who is Habib Umar's daughter, she looks so much like Habib Umar, right? If you've seen her face, Aisha, it's like Habib Umar all the way, right? And she takes a lot of the character of Habib Umar, right, in her, mashallah. Said Salim takes a lot of Habib Nur. Said Salim, Habib's oldest son, and Said Salim, he looks exactly like Habib Nur, and his character is very much Habib Nur, very, very much Habib Nur. Mashallah, he takes more from his mother, right? And there is a truth in it. There is a truth in it. That was why when Rasul saw the face of Fatimah Zahra, he saw that she looked exactly like him. And so he smiled because he knew that she took, right, from the character of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is a reality to it. That the one that you look more like between your parents, you tend to take more of their character. Mashallah. And some parents will be like, some parents will say, unfortunately. And one of my sister-in-laws, she's like, I see my daughter, she's exactly like me, and she's behaving exactly like me. I wish she wouldn't do it. She's taking my character. You know, mashallah, she's exactly like me. Exactly her temper, her frustration. It's just me. I'm seeing me now. Mashallah. Ya Allah subhanallah. Of course, with the training of the religion, you get better in it, inshallah. But you can see it is tiba'. In Arabic it's called tiba'a. Tiba'a means your character. And from the word taba'a means to stamp. And taba'tu ala shay, it means I stamp on it. So tiba'a is something that is stamped into your genes. It's stamped in. It's already recorded in. It's in your genealogy. Subhanallah. Right. So for some people, it's stamped in them that they have higher temper. Right. It's stamped in them that they are just very quiet and very shy. Right. Some is stamped in them that they are all outgoing and loud. Subhanallah. It's just character. It's character. Right. So especially as teachers, when you realize that there's character, right, in the class, and that you don't punish someone or force someone against their character, right, unless there's a bad character showing. Right, then there is an irshad, there's a guidance there. Right, but with regards to like for me, as a teacher, if someone is shy, right, and they're not the kind of person who wants to step up in front, right, and read out loud and so on, as long as she knows how to read, alhamdulillah, that's my goal. She knows how to read. Right? But to be out loud, some people find it easier, and some people they run away from that, right? And it's just character. It's just character. So I never force them. And I always allow for those who like to be loud if you want to. But then adab in class, not to interrupt me as a teacher. That's an adab with your loudness, right? And then with those who are extremely shy, right? If it comes to a point whereby they will not read Quran with me, then now it becomes blameworthy. They won't even recite a word. They becomes blameworthy. I'll make them, but with me only. So this is in identifying character of people. Right, and respecting that there is character, right? And so you know that some people have a different type of character, some people are different, right? And it's okay. There are all kinds of characters out there. It's okay, right? So to give them that, right? So there is tiba'a, right? And it said that the character in a person will show in the face of the person. Allah, and the character in the person will show in the face of the person, right? So if you look more like your mother, you will find that your character and your mother is similar. You look more like your father, your character and your father's character is similar in character. And amongst your children as well, if they look more like their father, you'll find their character will follow your husband. You will follow his character. Oh, mashallah. He's on his exploration. I didn't even notice that he gave me his way. So he's there, mashallah. Right, so it's all tiba'a. Right, so Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, so there's a comment of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra that she is the Ashbah al-Nas bin Nabi. Ashbah al-Nas bin Nabi, the one who looks exactly like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She was the most similar to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right, right. So that shows how close she is to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidah Aisha said that if she walked, her walking was exactly the Prophet, not even missing a step. Right? And she says, Sayyidah Fatima Zahra is the most truthful person he's ever met after her father. Says no one more truthful than her except the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. MashaAllah. And then ومن خصائصها أنها لا تجوع ببركة دعاء أبيها المسموع. So one thing that is special about her karama is that Fatima Zahra never feels hungry nor thirsty. It's a karama. Because there was once Rasulullah saw her in extreme hunger, because of her zuhud. She would give and 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 she would suffer in hunger and thirst. And so he raised his hands, Ya Allah, do not let Fatima be hungry after today. No matter how much she gives out of her food and does not eat, she will never feel hungry. MashaAllah. She could go for days without food and not feel hunger. MashaAllah. It's a khasa'is, right? It's from a dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That is karama. You don't have that. It's under karama. Right, mashallah. But how about Aishun will always quote, how about Maryam as-Sagaf. Maryam as-Sagaf is the grandmother-in-law of Hawa Aishun. Grandmother-in-law. So on her husband's side. Right, but this Hawa Maryam, so when we Hawa Aishun say Hawa Maryam, she's talking about Hawa Maryam as-Sagaf, who is her husband's grandmother. Right, and she was a big waliyah. Right, big waliya. And mashallah in Hadramaut, right, the karama of the awliya is not so far away. When our Habaya speak about the karama, they are speaking about people just 1 or 2 generations from them. It's not like way back in the day, Fakhr Muqaddam, Haddad, whatever. No, but it's just literally is like the grandfather or the great grandfather. Right? And it was said that just 100 years ago in Tarim, the awliya was seen. They will be flying around in Tarim. They are seen doing that. It was so normal. It's about 100 years ago. MashaAllah. Right, but they stopped doing that because it's become a fitna on people. But if they wanted to, they could. The awliya today, if they wanted to, they could. But they stopped doing it because it's a fitna amongst people because of also cameras and people record stuff online. Can you imagine someone were to record something that was miraculous by a wali and they put it online? How much condemnation it would come from the people online, and they be condemning a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should put them in a very dangerous position because Allah has declared war against those who are enemies of the awliya. Right? So you can imagine, right? There is someone. This is why we also outside of Tarim, that we are careful as to what we say about the awliya, right? Because not everyone can take it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, about the awliya. And so it could be a fitna on them that they begin to. It's called inkar. And they begin to reject it and say things out of ignorance. They have no knowledge. They're saying things and then they are slandering the awliya, and this could be it will result in something bad happening to them. Na'uzubillah. Right, but mashallah. So anyway, Hababa Maryam Sagaf, right? Haba Aishun's Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Haba Aishun's mother-in-law. I can't remember why I even mentioned the story. The story about her. But now I forgot the story now. What story I wanted to mention about her? Okay, you can't say to me. About hunger. Yes, correct. Because how Maryam was a girl, she would say, Hababa, come and eat today. You've not eaten the entire day. And Hababa will say,
We put it, it's a little tilted and it can like straight in the wall.
Okay. Be careful. Right, so she will say, I have eaten today on Quran, or I have eaten today on dhikr. I have eaten today. I have had my meal by reading Quran today. Awliya. Right, so they get nourished by the Quran, by the dhikr, by the azkar, and they feel no hunger. When they're hungry, they always pick up the mushaf and start reading, and the hunger goes away. Right, so mashallah. So these are people who have inherited the way of Sayyidah Fatimah al-Zahra. Right, they have no hunger, and their hunger is removed when they read Quran. Mashallah. So for Sayyidah Fatimah al-Zahra, there is no hunger on her. That is one of her khasa'is, Sayyidah Fatimah al-Zahra. من خصائصها ما اختص الله به زوجها من الفضل المبين وقدر مكين حيث قال لها سيد المرسلين زوجك سيد في الدنيا وإنه في الآخرة لمن الصالحين. Right, so and of her distinguishments is that Allah gave her a man as a husband whom the Prophet said is a sayyid in this dunya, as he is a leader in this dunya, and he is a salih of righteous in the akhirah. And of course we have mentioned about Sayyidina Ali at length from before, that he is someone that Prophet has said is someone that loves the Prophet and Allah and the Prophet, and Allah and the Prophet love him. So Sayyidina Ali, his maqam is mashallah. We spoke about him in previously during the marriage of Sayyidina Ali. So Sayyidina Ali has a position, right, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the last khasa'is is mentioned here, ومن خصائصها إظهار فضلها لأهل الموقف عامة حين ينادي المنادي أيها الناس غضوا أبصاركم حتى تجوز فاطمة. Right, so the last one is on the day of judgment. So you will see something that is khas for her, that is special for her on the day of judgment, whereby the people of the gathering, right, they will say all in the gathering, lower your gaze. And for Fatima, it's about to cross the Sirat. And every woman that followed her will cross the sirat together with her. May Allah make us one of them, inshallah. There is a khasa'is. So there is a declaration on the Day of Judgment, an announcement on the Day of Judgment, that Fatima is about to cross. Everyone lower your gaze and do not look. So even on the Day of Judgment, there is a modesty, not to look at her as she mounts her beast, and she crosses the sirat. Inshallah, those who follow her in this dunya, they will follow her in the akhirah. Inshallah. Okay, alhamdulillah. So on chapter 13, so we're going to do chapter 13 today, inshallah, very quickly, inshallah. فصل الثالث عشر في ختام سيرتها العطرة وفي رياض هذه السيرة العطرة في رحاب مدرستها النيرة تقتبس بضع الدروس التي تطمئن بها القلوب وتهذب النفوس. نختار 3 دروس سنية تكون نبراسا للأمة المحمدية، فأنصتوا لبث هذه الدروس وانتبهوا، فإنها تبث على قناة. وما آتاكم الرسول فخذوه وما نهاكم عنه فانتهوا. وأول هذه الدروس المستوحى من سيرة فاطمة بنت رسول الله التأسي بصفاتها نبيلة وأخلاقها الجميلة، ومن أبرز ذلك سلامة الجنان وحفظ اللسان، فلا يجري لسانها بغير الحق ولا ينطق إلا بالصدق حفظت لسانها من الأدواء الذميمة، لا كذب ولا غيبة ولا نميمة، صادقة في قولها صادقة في فعلها، حتى قالت عائشة رضي الله عنها إخبارا عن صدقها وتنويها ما رأيت أحدا أصدق من فاطمة غير أبيها. كيف لا تكون كذلك وقد تلقت عن أبيها أفضل الأخلاق ومحاسن الآداب؟ أفمن يعلم أن ما أنزل إليك من ربك الحق كمن هو أعمى، إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب. والدرس الثاني تهديه إلى الآباء والأمهات لتفقد أحوال الأبناء والبنات، توجيههم إلى الأعمال الصالحات، فمع ما كان عليه الإمام المرتضى والفاطمة الرضا من علم ويقين وتمسك بالدين وثبات عليه ودعوة إليه، فقد كان صلى الله عليه وسلم حين يمر بباب فاطمة إذا خرج إلى الصلاة الفجر يقول: الصلاة أهل البيت، إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فلتكن لنا في رسول الله أسوة حسنة في الحث على الصالح الأعمال، وقدوة بأهل بيت النبوة في الطاعة والامتثال. فيا أيها الآباء والأمهات، اتقوا الله في أولادكم، فلذات أكباركم مروهم بالعمل الصالح يتعودوا وينشأوا عليه ويحبوه، فإن المرء ينشأ على ما عوده أبوه، وبذلك يحيون حياة سعيدة لا ضياع ولا اكتئاب ثوابا من عند الله والله عنده حسن الثواب. والدرس الثالث نهديه إلى النساء المؤمنات القانتات الحافظات فليكن على حذر مما يحيط بهن من خطر ليحذرن دعوة المارقين من الأخلاق والدين الذين يزينون للمرأة ترك الحجاب وتمرد على الدين والآداب وليسمعن بآذان صاغية وقلوب واعية. هذا السؤال الذي وجهه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى ابنته العالمة السيدة فاطمة حيث قال لها ما خير للمرأة؟ فقالت كلمتها التي لا تزال رواة يرونها ألا ترى الرجال ولا الرجال يرونها. فسر صلى الله عليه وسلم منها بهذا الجواب المفيد المغني وضمها إلى صدره وقال إنما فاطمة بضعة مني وقد رسمت بهذا للمرأة المؤمنة خطة آمنة حتى لا تكون مفتونة ولا فاتنة فأمعنوا النظر في السؤال والجواب واعلموا بذلك تظفروا بحسن الثواب. الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات طوبى لهم وحسن مآب. وهنا وقف اليراع عن محاولة ما لا يستطاع فأنى له أن يحيط بلال البحر المحيط. فمناقب الزهراء ودروس حياتها المفضلة بحر عميق لا ساحل له يمتد من بحر أبيها سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشرف ومجد. وفي هذا القدر كفاية لمن كتب الله له الهداية. وبهذا تم الانتظام عقد اللول من سيرة الزهراء فاطمة البتول. فما كان من صواب فمن الله أحمده وأشكره وما كان من خطأ فمن نفسي أتوب إلى الله وأستغفره. والإنسان يخطئ ويصيب والله يغفر ويثيب وما توفيقي إلا بالله عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب. رضي الله عن فاطمة الزهراء وارضاها وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله أزكى صلاة وأنماها. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله. The last part where he ends the book, he speaks about 3 lessons. As we were coming to the end of her seerah, and it's a very short write-up, on her life, and it's enough, mashallah. And there's so much to say about her, but just as how maulids are. And so maulids are very short, and it's about the life of Rasulullah just a bit, from his life, and Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, we have Itulul. Let's speak a bit about her life, So he picks out 3 lessons, right, that will be enough, right, for people to hold on to and to implement, right. And so the first lesson, he said here, right, is the first of his lessons, right, it is from the akhlaq of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, right, from her beautiful character. And the one thing that he mentions about her is the guarding of her tongue. Right, the guarding of her tongue, Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, right, the guarding of her tongue. Right, so here he mentions that she has guarded her tongue and only says what is true. Right, so it's on us to only say what is true and that is going on around us. So to guard ourselves against lying, against slandering, against backbiting, right, against anything that is unbecoming of a Muslimah or a Muslim to get into. There is a one trait that he pointed out about Sayyidah Fatima Az-Zahra, truthfulness. And because it's a one trait about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that was distinguished above everybody else, that he would never ever lie sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first lesson of truth, right, whereby no kadhib wala ghiba wala namima, right, so no lying, no backbiting, and no tale bearing, right, no slandering, right, of people. She had the most truthful of speech, and Sayyidah Aisha said that ما رأيت أحدا أصدق من فاطمة غير أبيها. I have not seen anyone who was more truthful in speech other than besides Fatima, except for her father, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And how can it not be? Because she is from the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So of course, she grew up with someone who would guard over her tongue and not get into matters that does not concern her. Right, so as women, this is one of the lessons that we're going to take, right, to prevent yourself from going into empty speech. Right, and didn't reach for it. He's aiming for the jug. MashaAllah. Right, so I said, that's easier, that's better. MashaAllah. He wants that's more colourful. It's green. No, it's about the green. No. Right, so we take this from her, and it's from the madrasa of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whereby he was known to be the most truthful person. So even like what people in our culture will call white lies. I want something like that, like a white lie. No, Habibah would say no white, no black, no colored lies. They're all lies. A lie is a lie. Right? So as far as possible to stay away from any of these things, guard your tongue. Okay, the second lesson, right, is for fathers and mothers. It's for parents. He gives to parents, and it says that do not be unaware of the states of your children. That's the first thing. Right, to be completely aware of how they're growing up, how they are, with their friends, how they are with their neighbors, how they are with their cousins, how they are with adults, how they are with children, right, everything about them, to look into the matter. Right, so and mashallah, unfortunately in our society, especially back home, parents are oblivious as to how the kids are. Alhamdulillah, in Tarim, inshallah, we're watching them, and the entire community watches them. As I said, that it takes a village to raise a child. It does. It's a village to raise that everybody's involved in it, and everybody wants the best for the younger generation. So the older generation takes care of the younger generation, and that is the way it should be. Right, so but if you go back home, everyone's like nafsi, me, and even then also, what's going on in school, what's going on with their friends, right? Sometimes parents are so busy, doing their own work, their own whatever they're doing, and they're not aware of how their kids are, right? In school or in public spaces, in private spaces with their friends. I get to know, mashallah. Right, so he mentions here, تَفَقُّدِ أَحْوَالِ أَبْنَائِ وَالْبَنَاتِ, right, to know what they are doing, how they are behaving, to know a full, report about them. Mashallah, to know about them, mashallah. Right, because then so especially, when they are out of your view. Right, so then you know how they are behaving in front of other people. MashaAllah. Right, so and توجيههم إلى أعمال الصالحات, right, to guide them and to point them, right, to deeds that are righteous, mashallah, that they are righteous, right, and so فمع ما كان عليه الإمام المرتضى وفاطمة الرضا, and that is how you also guide them, right, by showing them good role models. Right, so alhamdulillah, the tarbiyah that is going on here in Tarim, mashallah, right, that the girls here, they're all about Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, about Sayyidah Khadija, like it is a blessing, like that our girls are looking at the Sahabiyat, and looking for examples from them, and they're loving them, and they're excited about them and everything. And it's excited our boys are looking at the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I teach the boys online actually, but on the heroes of Islam, the Sahaba, and I've been doing it since January online with my students back home in Singapore, right? And I'm still saying Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. I'm not moved from him. I suppose I'm using that is taught in the Zahra and the Mustafa, right, on the Sahaba, and there's a whole, list of people, who are the heroes of Islam, mashallah, the men of Islam, mashallah, right, and I'm still saying Abu Bakr, mashallah, it's so much to say about him, so much, right? And so it builds the character of our boys, mashallah, Sayyidina Hamza, they love Sayyidina Hamza, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Ali, Sayyidina Osman.
Becomes an idol.
Yeah, it becomes their role model, their example, that they want to take over, then they take after. Right? So point them, right, to these people and teach them the Sahaba. Who are the Sahaba? Of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right, so here's the first thing that's mentioned here is, so the first thing for parents is to first and foremost always know what your kids are, how your kids are. Right, so know their character in and out of the house, know their character with their friends, know their character with their neighbors, their character with their classmates, right, their character everywhere they go, their character with their uncles, their aunties. Right, so this because as you know, as human beings, we are people of many different characters. It's normal for a human being. You should different character to different people. Mashallah, my sister-in-law was saying to me that because she was saying that now no teacher, that very rarely that teachers in Singapore are so strict about character. Then I said to her, but your kids are okay, what? your kids in class, like because they come to my classes and they're very quiet. They sit by the side. They're just kind of kids that don't get involved with anyone and anywhere. Right? They're the easy students. They don't do anything in class. They just sit there and just pay attention the whole time. Easy students. When I have classes, alhamdulillah, there's some of them around. And they don't dare speak up a thing in class. They sit there and just pay attention. Good chat. Mashallah. Right. So I said to my sister, your kids are good in class. And she's like, yeah, in class, at home. It's a different story at home. Mashallah. But it's natural. Yeah. When they come home, they're different. Because they're comfortable. And they're comfortable in the home. And they trust the people of the home. Right? But whereas in school or outside, people are more afraid of being judged. Right? That makes people, very reserved outside because they're afraid of being judged. At home, they couldn't care less about being judged. Right? Because it's your family. It's your family. Just judge me all you want. You're my family. Mashallah. And in family, there is an unconditional love, which can bring out, character that is undesirable. Because there is an unconditional love that is there. Mashallah. And so the first lesson is for parents to know the states of their children wherever they are and how they behave, right? Mashallah. Especially those who are growing up, right? Second lesson is to give them good role models. Right? To speak about the tarjama or the biography of these great people over and over again, and do not let them at all in any way look at anybody else as the role model at all. Right? So from the media, from cartoons, from anything about it, right? When I see girls back home, and I'm compared to girls back home, right? When they have all this, people they look up to, right, on the media or on cartoons or whatsoever, it's always because of the physical beauty of that person, right? When you look at celebrities, right, or singers or actors, right, what of their character are you looking at? Right? It's just the beauty, right? It's just she's so pretty, she's so handsome, whatever. It's all the beauty, right? Even the princesses, Disney princesses and so on, right? It's about the glamour, right? And the beauty. There is some lessons here and there, like Cinderella, she's humble and whatever. They have the lessons here and there, right? The beauty and the beast and everything, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about the glamour of the beautiful person, which is really bad for their esteem. It's really bad for their esteem, right? And we all grew up in that way. We grew up with this because our parents were hit by this media, right? So our parents themselves didn't know what happened, right? So we all grew up with it. We consumed it, right? And we know also how it affected our own, esteem, right? As we grew up, in classes, in schools, and seeing people compare beauty, right? Physical beauty, right? So the way of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra or Sayyidah Khadija is all about the inward. And so when you give them that, the strength that is in them. And you say the Khadija, I'm emphasizing on the girls about strength. And that will be the one topic that we speak about Sayyidah Khadija. It's all about strength. And because how many of our women are very weak. Very weak because they place their worth on what people say about them, right? And they place their worth on how they look, right? On their physical. Women are going through that. So what more girls? And really, our women are suffering from this. And our women have low self-esteem. And our women are in depressed states. And our women are, the women are going through this. So we need to protect our girls from this, right? From this very evil world, of running people down, in the way they are. Subhanallah. Right? So Sayyidah Khadija, right? She teaches us strength. Sayyidah Khadija is all about strength. She is in mashallah. The more you go into her life, you're like, she's so strong. As an iron lady, mashallah, Sayyidah Khadija. There's no other woman you need to look at. If you want to talk about strength, there's one woman, right? Sayyidah Khadija, mashallah. The strength beyond words, mashallah. I can't even imagine being widowed once. She was widowed twice. And said before she married Rasulullah, before she was widowed twice before she married Rasulullah with 3 children. Going on strong. And then we've said Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she lost 2 sons. Thinking this is a woman who's is she a human being or she's a hurul ain, a woman from paradise? Mashallah, it's like what she's going through. Ya Allah, Ya Allah. And never ever breaking away from a smile. So hard, Sayyidah Khadija, so hard. To be happy all the time. Ya Allah, Ya Allah. And there was once, sorry to the Khadija, there was once whereby her son passed away, Abdullah, Sayyidina Abdullah Tahir Tayyib. Right, and it was Sayyidina Qasim, one of her sons passed away. Right, and when your son passes away, right, at the point of breastfeeding, right, there's a pain in the milk collecting, right, that's because the baby's not there anymore, the baby's gone, right, so there's a pain in the milk collecting, so she would suffer, right, from that pain of swollen breasts, right, because of the boy not there anymore. So there was once Rasul came in on her, and she was weeping. As naturally a human being does, she was weeping, missing her son. Right, they have passed. It's very, very, mashallah, so human, so human. Right, she was weeping, and Rasul said to her, Ya Khadija, why are you weeping? And then she said, I wish he had finished his milk. In a sense, I wish he had finished at least 2 years. Because now whenever my breast hurt, I remember the lost child. Right? So it's like a double pain. Right? A physical pain and then an emotional pain. Right? Because it's hurting because the boy's not there anymore. The child's not there anymore. So she said, I wish he finished his milk. And then Rasulullah said to her, would you like to see him in paradise? I can ask Allah. Right? That you see him in paradise. And she said, no. I have rida on Allah's decree. Full rida on Allah's decree. I don't have to see him. Right? I'll wait. I will see him later on. Right? MashaAllah. It's kind of like you say, it's a strong woman what they're going through. MashaAllah. So anyway, MashaAllah, these are the people, these are our role models. That is why we bring forward Sayyidah Fatima Zahra as an emblem of beauty and character. Bring forward Sayyidah Khadija as an emblem of strength. Right, in a woman, in character. Sayyidah Aisha as a woman, who's focused on her studies and teaching and benefiting other people. And so many of the Sahabiyat and their examples that you can see. Then of the men, Sayyidina Uthman of gentleness and softness. Uthman was known for being gentle and soft. Sayyidina Ali, of wisdom. Sayyidina Umar, justice. Sayyidina Abu Bakr, of courage. Right, they all have their main character traits that's about them, mashallah. So for on the fathers and the mothers, he says here, give them good examples, right? Give them good role models, that they have no need for anyone else besides these people around Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. MashaAllah.
Safa, isn't it like, if you think about it, it's that beautiful that subhanallah, Allah gave us like many role models because we have different characters.
Yes, mashallah.
Maybe someone like
it's exactly that. It's exactly that. Because if you can't read Sayyidina Umar, you might read Sayyidina Uthman. If you can't read Sayyidina, every Sahaba is a character type. Right? And they're all Sahaba. Right? So you could have of any character you have, and you hold on to one person that really you connect with. And you feel like, my character kind of like hers, in a sense. Like Sayyidina Umar with his temper, his anger, kind of like his temper, and how Rasulullah trained him, right, to only have his anger in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. MashaAllah. Right, so that is the beautiful thing, that each of them, Habib Khalani would say, each of them is a madrasah. They're all madrasas, right? And every person to the end of time will follow in the traits. And the last lesson, so that is about for the parents, and he also mentioned how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever he would go past the house of Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra, he would say, the prayer, O family of the Prophet, the prayer, O family of the Prophet, Allah wants to purify you with full purifying, right? And then he would wake them up and call them for the prayer, right? So it's on the fathers and the mothers, he says here, right? So all mothers and fathers, right, have taqwa of Allah with your children, right? Fear Allah about your children, right? And take akbadikum, and because they are from your blood, your flesh and blood, they're from your flesh and blood, and so command them to what is righteous, command them to what is good, and make it a habit for them, make righteousness habitual on this people, on your children, so they will be of the happiest, most blissful human beings in this world and the hereafter. And there is no other way for happiness except through good deeds. I should teach them on good deeds, train them on good deeds. The last lesson here, he has given it to the woman of the ummah, the woman of the ummah. And here he said, look at the words of Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra. When Rasulullah asked the question, what is the best for women? What is the best for women? And she answered, Allah tara rijala wala rijalu yarawnaha. That she does not look at men, nor do men look at her. MashaAllah. Not to want attention, not to show yourself off, right? To cover yourself. At the same time, stop being, always, looking at boys and one of my friends in Singapore, she was saying to me, because her kids are homeschooled, right? So they're mashallah, being homeschooled, you protect them from so much out there, what is going on in the schools. So her kid is only 7 years old. And at the masjid, there was one of the girls that was there and saying to a kid who was 7, saying to her, do you have a crush? And the friend her daughter was like, what's a crush? Alhamdulillah. You don't know what it is. Alhamdulillah. But this is from the community, from society. MashaAllah, in Tarim, they're so far from it because they don't even see the boys. Who are the boys? Alhamdulillah. Right, so they're just so far from all these things because they're all girls' school. They're just like, protected. See the Fatima Zahra, MashaAllah. When you go back home, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Right, so
So this happened to my sister actually with the 6-year-old daughter. And that day she just took them out of Oh really? Yeah. She was like, I'm homeschooling them.
Yeah, they start as young as 5. Oh, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, as young as 5, they're starting.
And who's the teacher?
Ya Allah.
Like in the religion
Teacher. Yeah. And it happened in my K2 class. I was homeschooling, right? So I have a K2 class. So one of the boys had, and they're what, 5, 6? Right, so one of the boys had liking more of the girls and kept calling her his wife. Okay, alhamdulillah, I don't know the word boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband. So I was like, alhamdulillah, at least you know the direct roots, right? Wife, husband. Okay, calling her his wife. And she was like having full rida of it. I'm his wife. I put a stop to it. I was like, you know what? From now on, nobody calls anybody else. Right, their wife or their husband. All the boys will be here strictly. All the girls will be here strictly. Boys and girls cannot mix. Because I separate them at 7. Thinking that kindergarten ni lambat. Kindergarten, right? You're thinking K1, K2, in kindergarten, they're 5, they're 6. Should be fine. They won't get into this stuff. But they hear it from their older cousins. They hear it from someone else. And so they bring it to class and they're saying it to each other. So I put an iron hand down. Boys here, girls here. Right? If in the middle part only brothers and sisters can sit together. Right? Brother and sister together, okay. If you're not your brother, no going near him. No.
This
So
also because like they're mixed, like almost they're already mixed and they see each other. So
yeah. But
so-
thing was, I always thought kindergarten was okay. At primary 1, at 7 years old, I was split. So I'm only all boys classes and all girls classes. So I don't mix them at primary school level. But at kindergarten, I was like, why are you sitting so young? But I know it was something more of a innocent thing, in the sense that he liked her, in her character and everything. So to him, it's like if a man likes a woman, she becomes his wife. Right? That's all. That's why they think about, right? They become the wife, right? They say when you baligh, okay? Wait until you baligh, then you talk about it. Mashallah. So, mashallah, but it is in schools. And it's mostly the teacher is the one that's pushing it, or the friends are pushing it.
Yeah.
And sometimes friends, right? They keep saying stuff. And in our zaman it's even worse, right? With the entire homosexuality going on. Right? So it could be that two girls are just very good friends, right? But the friends around them are saying things, oh girlfriend, oh whatever. They say all these words, right? I'm not saying because the girls are here. I'm saying all these words, and making them as a couple or a pair. But it could be just friends. Then it comes into their heads. Like, oh, maybe we are a couple. Maybe we are, because the friends keep doing it. When I was from an all-girls school in Singapore, right, and it's so common that it's from the friends that the friends label them as a couple. But it's just friendship. So when I counsel girls, I do counsel girls from as young as 14, going through it, 13, going through it. I'll counsel them and I'll say to them, like, why can't you just be friends? And why must there be this, labeling? Right? Just be friends. You're Muslims. Right? Be friends with each other. Right? You don't have to have anything that is romantic. Right? So a lot of times there is no evil intended, but the society pushes them towards an evil that they themselves never thought of. Right? But society does that. All of our children. You're keeping them at home, homeschooling, okay? Homeschool all of them. That is kind of the best way, It is kind of the best way, right? Because you don't know what is the influence out there. Even in masjid, when I teach in masjid, there's a mix of children in masjid, right? So it could be from the masjid. There's some influence going on. So unless the teacher is very strict and very firm on things, right, there is an influence going on in the masjid. Mashallah.
Just that what's happening in Indonesia now, the teachers that are strict go to jail. Because the parents, they go to the authority nowadays. So like, subhanAllah, many ulamas, many teachers, they're going to jail just because of simple things. So that's what's happening now at the end of time.
It's homeschool. Always homeschool.
Laws against conversion therapy in Singapore and Indonesia?
I don't know.
In Singapore, there are laws against open da'wah to non-Muslims.
Right. So conversion therapy is like when you counsel someone out of their sexuality.
Oh, not religion. I was thinking religion.
No, it's a term. I never heard of it before.
Yeah.
Now it's a law. It's illegal now. So if someone is homosexual, you can't counsel them to become straight.
Yeah.
Is in Europe or Britain or
It's New Zealand.
Most
countries?
Australia, New Zealand, Canada.
You can't convince them that they're not homosexual. So,
If they seek help, you can't provide.
yeah, Allah. Yeah, alhamdulillah, under an Islamic framework, could you do it? If you come to the masjid. An Islamic
A lot
framework.
of religious organizations have tried to push back against the law, but I don't think they can.
They can, Allah.
A lot of obviously Christian organizations.
They push back.
Very
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah. The Christians are very strong against this. The Christians are like, yeah. You find that in Singapore, the Christians are the ones who are very strong against allowing homosexuality in Singapore. In Singapore, they legalized sodomy. It used to be illegal in Singapore. Sodomy is homosexual. So it used to be illegal in Singapore. So last year, the basically the homosexuals they rallied to make it legal in Singapore, right? So you find the Christians very strong in their voice against it. The Muslims we try in Singapore, we try to kind of speak up against it, but the government was just deaf ears. They go for whatever makes the money, I guess. I don't know. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So you're in a zaman whereby, you know what, keep them at home. You're happy here. You're in this bubble. You're in this, safe enclosure. They're not seeing anything. When I teach, online, the Khadija class, the Fatima Zahra class, right? I know that when I speak to the girls in front of me, they are a specific type of girls, and the hundreds of girls online listening in, they are a different type. They are being exposed to all kinds of things in schools, right? Whereas the girls in front of me, like mashallah, they are in tarim, they are like, we say makeup, we say makeup. Like girls in Singapore are using it. Girls in tarim, you're like, you're wearing your abaya, your hijab. Don't be shy about it. So of course we're not shy about it. Yeah. Go to Singapore, you go to the West, right? They get very shy about their clothing. Right? They feel out of place. They feel, different. For myself, I went through government school, so I know many people they find it difficult to hold on when you're in government school. Right, because you're different. You're the only one who's different. Right, so my school allowed us to wear like long pants for sports. So I wear school long pants at the KGS, my secondary school. So there was a school long pants. But amongst the Muslims who were in that school, about only 3 or 4 wore long pants. All the other Muslims wore shorts. Even though there was an option in the school provided by the school, who is government school, and his pants were school pants. It follows the uniform of the school. But I remember my class, in my first year in entering the class, maybe about 10 people wore long pants. Girls, it's all girls school. 10 girls wearing long pants for sports. By the time we were in our 4th year, I was the only one. Everyone else changed to shorts. As they grew older, they moved to shorts. Right? And you're wondering, like, and I know them outside of school, they wear the hijab for their parents. So they were actually hijabis. So it was so confusing that you're actually hijabis, and in a school that allows for pants, you don't opt for the pants. It's a shyness. Everyone else wearing shorts. And so even if they're from families that are strong families in the religion, they'll still wear shorts in school because everyone else wears shorts. So to be the only one, probably I was the only one wearing pants. So whenever we could, like in Singapore, we had to wear uniform. So when you had racial harmony day, you come to school wearing your racial dress. So I'll come in hijab, khalas. I'll wear my jubba or kurta. That time I wear kurta, whatever I want, a hijab. I go to school. They're the only one in the entire school with a hijab on. And all the other Muslims, maybe 1 or 2 others, perhaps in the whole school. Mashallah. The only one. Khalas, the only one. But it is strength. It takes strength, to just be different. You go for a class gathering, class outing, you're the only one with the hijab on. It's okay. They call you, they call me makcik. Makcik meaning like, old lady. Because you wear the hijab. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Strength. Right. Just do what you do. Yeah. But I know when I speak to the girls here, it's different because everyone here is doing it. Right? Yeah. The girls back home. Huh?
You have the opposite.
Yeah.
If you're not
doing it,
then you feel out of place.
You're out of place. Yeah, but when you go back home, are you going to be strong and hold on? And be okay being different. Be okay to be different. It's okay. Mashallah. So for the fathers and mothers as well, that when you make decisions for your family, and your family goes against it. The family goes against it. Like, why are you making them dress up like that? Why are you making them, just too young? The family begins to speak about it. It's going to be gentle and strong. Just hold your ground. Inshallah. It's something that I chose for my children. I chose for them, and they like it. Mashallah. So the last lesson is about modesty, and in women and men. Last lesson, right? Last lesson that is from this part. Right, so be like Sayyidah Fatima Az-Zahra. Right, have clothing that is loose. Right, don't look right to show off in front of men. Right, don't look to show off your beauty. Right, so so I know when I do the da'wah, when I do this kind of classes, the people online, I know the da'wah there is different. Right? It's a different da'wah going on. Right? So I know the girls there, they have Facebook, they have Instagram, they are on TikTok, right? They are on all these things, right? This is a reality of our society. Right? We're in Tarim, we're a different breed altogether. It's going on here. They have no phones, they have no, people in Singapore from age 7, they have their own smartphone.
7.
And I wonder about parents who do that. I do wonder. Like, why does a 7-year-old need a smartphone? Come on, what is he going to do with his smartphone? Right? Give him a dumb phone. I mean, the normal Nokia. I call it a dumb phone. Normal Nokia for calls. You want to call him when he's in school. Okay. A phone that is basically no internet, right? No possibility of internet because it's a lousy Nokia. Mashallah. In Tarim ones, right? Tarim ones, the lousy small ones. It's good enough. I can call you on that.
Yeah.
You don't need an iPhone. But I know of people in 7 years old, primary 1, having the latest iPhone. And you wonder about the parents. What are you thinking? Are they not aware of what's online? I mean, every adult knows what's going on online, right? You all know about it. You put it in their hands. Hawla wala quwwata illa billah. And so inshallah, as we go back to our countries, the da'wah is very strong. A lot of da'wah needed to bring to people. And it's all saving them in this world and the hereafter. Because if you go online, if you look at the cases, right, of how many girls abducted in the West, how many girls abused in the West, how many girls killed themselves in the West because of things that happen on the phone. Right, chat rooms, getting to know of people and whatsoever. In America, it's so widespread. It's so scary. And in America, it's so scary what's going on. Like, alhamdulillah, we have Islam. Alhamdulillah for Islam. Right? And so we know we have sense that you don't give them these things. Right? Even one of our teachers here, her daughter is 18 years old. She's 18. There's no phone. Right, and the daughter's cousins who's like in Aden, in another part of Yemen, they want to communicate. And she said to her daughter, tell your cousins to send it through me. She's 18. I was like, okay, 18 I will give her a phone. But she's 18. Like, go on. I want to know her daughter's happy not having a phone. She's happy. She's reading a book, she's doing her stuff. She has no need for a phone. Because sometimes not knowing what's on the phone, you won't be addicted. Then when you know what's on the phone, then now you put aside all the books, and then you become addicted to the phone. So now she has no idea what's on the phone. Alhamdulillah. And it's the same thing about games and so on. When they have no idea that these things exist, but because some adults show it to them, that the phone has all this stuff inside. So at best, let them not know what's on the phone. Mashallah. They do know.
I said I wish we didn't know.
We didn't know. Yeah, I wish we didn't know either. That's why I'm not even entering into like all these new platforms. So Facebook, Instagram. Now my student handles it for me. I'm not there anymore because also it's too slow in Tarim. Alhamdulillah. The slow internet here is a blessing. You don't even bother doing anything at all online. But alhamdulillah, all these new platforms, TikTok and whatsoever, it's so scary that it is so addictive. We'll spend time and waste time on it. So don't just enter into it, mashallah. So the last lesson was about modesty on Sayyidah Fatima Az-Zahra. Right, lessons that we all need desperately in our time. 3 lessons, right, from Iqdulul, and he ended his Iqdulul there. And said, with this we end our composition of Iqdulul, right, of something that is so difficult to do. He said, to try and concise an ocean into a few words, into a few chapters, mashallah, right, for the benefit of people. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make these lessons of benefit and of barakah. That is are things that need to be brought to our people and to our zaman to hold on to, inshallah. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. So Friday, Ustazah Zainab will be doing the last chapter, right? After Asar. So Friday, Pasina was asking me what's the plan. Do we have a plan? Do we have a plan? What's the plan? Do you want to like I don't know how people will be coming, but I guess you want to read the entire Idul from the beginning, right? So do you want to like take one chapter each, practice it? Do you want to?
Do you recite it in the tune of the